Welcome to this episode of the Founders Fireside Podcast. Today I am here with the founder of the Handless Handle and co-founder of Martha.ai. Jack Wax, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Of course. So I rarely have people on that have multiple businesses. Do you want to talk about Martha AI or the Handless Handle first?
I think let's start kind of where my roots lie. So let's talk about the Handless Handle.
Okay. First thing I'd like to ask is tell me about the inception of the product. Where did the idea come from and how did you go about creating it?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story. I think the real thing that started this off was just kind of me always being into ideas and coming up with entrepreneurial solutions to things. I mean, I would have a notebook where I'd always write ideas down. Like I remember, and this is a good one. And if anyone out there, like a shoe rack that has UV light that gets rid of the smell in shoes, overnight. Ooh. That's a cool one. But I don't know if that's out there. It might be. But yeah, so I was always into, entrepreneurial ideas. And so I was kind of like I always looked at problems. And my parents had redone our kitchen. So we had went from, the kitchen from our 1960s house or whatever, and updated it with some modern cabinetry, etc. And I was a big cook, so I've been cooking since I was like 10 years old. So I was in the kitchen a lot, just making whatever. And my parents, specifically my mom, was very worried about like the cabinet damage and the bacteria because our aunt or her sister had done the same thing. They redid their kitchen and installed 2 pull-out garbage cans actually, and both of them, after only like a year or 2 years, were like visibly damaged. And theirs was a darker wood, but you could totally see how beat up it was. And my mom did not want that to happen. She was super picky about like keeping everything nice and neat because it was brand new. So I kind of realized after a while, my mom started being like, oh, like, don't touch the garbage can, or make sure you wash your hands, make sure they're dry. I was like, all right, this is a huge pain. Like, I feel like there's something out there that can just solve this, or I can just make something. Turns out there wasn't anything out there or anything that was easily findable. And so I went in my notebook and I was like, all right, like, what if you could put something on the back side that kind of helped you pull it out with your foot? That would probably work. And so that was kind of the original idea of it.
Okay, awesome. So once you've got this idea to create the product, what did you do to actually bring it into reality and get the physical product in hand?
Yeah, so that's a long journey. So I think that kind of happened throughout my high school to early college experience. And so I had sat on the idea for about a year or two, and I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur one day. I wanted to get in that stuff. And so our high school offered this class that was like a business incubator called Honors Business Incubator. I think it was like the first honors class I'd taken too, so I was pretty excited about that. But essentially what happens in this class is you get paired into a team of people, and you try to start and launch a business, do all the business plan stuff, and then eventually you pitch kind of your idea. I knew I had something that I could actually do. So our high school offered 3D printing, and so we had this maker space. And actually in the early days of high school, I was kind of interested in just like printing random stuff out. So I remember I made this like Patrick Star bottle opener, which I think I still have in my room. So just cool stuff like that. I made like a battery holder, which actually is super helpful. Definitely, if you ever get a 3D printer, make one of those things. But, I knew this was doable in some fashion. And so after we had kind of started working on this, I brought the idea to the team. They weren't huge on it at first because I don't think they really saw the problem. But I was like, there's something that we can actually make. It would be this. So it ended up being during COVID. And so 2 of the kids out of the 4 didn't do anything at all, which, happens. But they were kind of friendly with us, so we didn't care. But me and this other kid, we were pretty passionate about like actually making a real product because it's pretty cool like to bring something kind of to life. And so I ended up designing this thing in Tinkercad. It was 2 shapes. It was like an oval, and it was a thin panel, so a rectangle essentially. And 3D printed it out as like literally smaller than a mechanical pencil at first. I was like, oh shit, like this can't work. But I eventually started, iterating on it and seeing how I can make this thing better. And got something that I could actually put on the cabinet, and it worked. So I used, at the time it was like 3M, at first it was command strips, and then eventually like 3M, just double-sided like foam tape. So used that, put it on the cabinet. I was like, holy shit, like this does the job. Was it perfect? Not at all. But it could open the cabinet with your foot, and that was super cool to me. It was super cool to my parents, and I kind of knew I had something there. So ended up kind of looking for manufacturing. We did all the business plans, understood kind of what consumers wanted out of the product. Again, I was really passionate. We sped through this class in like the first 3 to 4 months. We did the whole curriculum, and then we kind of had the rest of the time to keep exploring, keep interviewing customers, keep talking to people, look for manufacturing, talk to those people. And eventually I found this manufacturer that was in our hometown or in our home area, but the quotes were absurdly expensive, and so that kind of bummed me out. I wanted to keep working on this thing after the class had ended in the summer. The other kid I was with was like, hey, I just don't want to do this anymore. So it was just me at that point, and then I saw the quotes, and I didn't really have the money, the resources to do it, and I didn't want to go out. I was, 17 years old. I didn't want to go out and like try to raise capital to make this happen, or ask my family, friends, ask people for money. I didn't think I had it in me to do it, but I knew I wanted to really bring this thing to life, and so eventually I kind of saved up. I worked all throughout high school and saved money to eventually be able to do this thing when I could hopefully find like the right manufacturer. So came to IU. I got into the business school somehow. I wrote a petition, and I wrote about the business actually, and I guess they read it, or maybe they didn't. But got into the Kelly School here, and then I was like, I want to get involved in entrepreneurship. And so I found the CEO club here, which was just an entrepreneurship club, but I actually ended up talking to a girl who was working on her own business at the same time. And I was like, where can I like actually, make something happen? And she had pointed me in the direction of this thing called the Shoebox, the Shoemaker Innovation Center in the Luddy School. He was like, you got to talk to this guy, Travis. So I went to Travis. I kind of showed him my whole like pitch deck type thing, and I was like, hey, like I really like have something. Like, here's my 3D printed version of the product. Like, this thing works, and it solves a real problem. And he was like, nice, whatever. I'll put you on the wait list. So I was like, oh, okay. Sat on the wait list. I went back. I was like, come on, like, is there anything you could do? He's like, I like your motivation. Like, he's like, you're gonna be one of the next 2 people to get in. I was like, that's great.
Sweet.
So by my freshman year, second semester, the first day, I'd been admitted into this Shoemaker Innovation, the Shoebox Incubator. And ever since there, I'd just started really going hard on the business, working every day to try to get this thing made, get the website up, like get real stuff, have a real business plan, have a real like legal entity, get a bank account, like all this stuff I needed to do in order to actually like create a product. And so I eventually got paired with some mentors, and I'd talked to some people that were in the clothing industry. There was nobody doing products, and they'd kind of show me what Alibaba was, which actually kind of comes full story and eventually, but they kind of shown me Alibaba and how you could find overseas manufacturing. And it took me a while to kind of get the right like knowledge I needed to do in order to like figure out how to make a real version of a product, the box with the right materials, with multiple materials on the product, and an adhesive and little customization. So this whole thing was custom, but I found the right manufacturer for the right price, and then I guess pulled the trigger, saved up the money. It ended up costing about $9,000 like all in to get 2,000 units with these packaging, mailer envelopes that were my original packaging. And from there I had, I guess a real business.
There you go.
Real products, so.
Okay. All right. So we'll get back to Alibaba coming full circle later in the podcast. First, I'm curious, once you've got these 2,000 units, what were the first steps? You got the website. Mm-hmm. Where do you go to sell them?
Yeah, so I kind of being just smart and young, I created like some business social media pages for some like friends and family before, and I knew that was a way that you could definitely showcase products of some sort. So I had started creating videos. I did a demo video. I wanted to actually launch a Kickstarter, but I'd made the whole campaign, shot the video, and then I was like, you know what, if I'm really going to get people to this thing, I'm going to have to spend some money where I'd rather just have them buy the product already, because it's all or nothing. So if you don't hit your goal, you don't get anything in Kickstarter.
Right. Yeah.
So I had just ended up starting to sell it. So I put it on my website for pre-order, and then I put it on for actual, when the inventory came in. I launched it on Instagram Shop, and then later TikTok Shop and Amazon. And then, I was trying to just do organic stuff to get organic traction to it, but I wasn't really getting anywhere. And so I was like, I really need people to speak about this who are the target market, because I'm not. It's, middle-aged suburban moms. So I ended up going and trying to find some influencers, which was a big search at the time. And I eventually found some micro-influencers that helped promote the products. And the first one I did, actually, she had 6,000 followers at the time. We did a collab post and got 1 million views, ran it to my Amazon page, and from there it's taken off. And I've sold product every single day.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
and
incredible.
that's being sold out. I sold out twice after that, and yeah, it's been a crazy ride.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. Just curious, what was the video that she made that got 1 million views?
It was the short 6 to 8 second video, and that kind of showing the things you never knew existed, or Amazon products you never knew existed.
Amazon finds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, it had some catchy music, short cutty clips, and that showed the product, the installation, and that you could open this type of cabinet hands-free. And people, I think, were just really caught off guard by that, and they watched it, commented, shared, and from there it just, every day it got more views, and it kept cycling until it hit 900 something thousand, and then it eventually rolled to 1 million. But
wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Incredible. So you've got this traction, and that video specifically you routed to your Amazon shop.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned getting on TikTok Shop, your own website, and Instagram Shop. So what's kind of the breakdown of sales between those different channels?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think the way that I frame my product is that it's really an Amazon product. It's a cheap product you want to buy because it's cool, and it's kind of going to go in your basket of items with the other stuff you order for your house, home improvement, kitchen. I've kind of learned later, the home improvement category for Amazon specifically is, if not the largest, category of products on Amazon. So it's definitely a great space to be if you're kind of one of those type of products. But I really learned fast that people want to buy some cheap item like this. I'm not saying it's cheap in quality, but something under $20 just off Amazon and not off some website. They want the trust that it's a real product. They're going to get it in a couple days. They can do a return if they need. So that's driven about 95 to 98% of my orders in total.
Sweet. What do you sell them for on Amazon?
Yeah, they're $16.99 for a 1-pack, and then for a 2-pack it's $28.99, and we have 4 different colors.
Solid. Okay, so for the fulfillment, you said it would get to them in a couple days. Is it fulfilled by Amazon?
So at first it was not. It was all hand-packed. So I was in my dorm room or in my apartment at that time, packing and shipping every single order by hand. It was not fun. I'd do 50, 100 orders every night or two, and it takes a while to pack. Make sure it's a 1 or 2-pack. You're slapping the right label on. My label printer sucked, so I would always have to reprint labels so everything's clear and the code can be scanned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all brutal, but eventually I've now become on fully FBA. All of my inventory is actually stored at Amazon's warehousing as well. So I've really played by their game, which I think has fed back into the success as well. Being on FBA specifically really leads to success on Amazon. They want to push products they can ship in 2 days. They people want to see the Prime badge. Amazon kind of will help you if you help them, or pay them more, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But you also get value out of it as well.
100%.
Yeah.
They've
That
got
Prime
the best
badge is-
logistics too. You could ship anywhere in 2 days, even if it's fulfilled by another, even if it's fulfilled from Amazon's warehousing to like some random house, not through Amazon's logistics, but they have great logistics.
Okay, awesome. So now I want to circle back to you mentioning something with Alibaba coming full circle. What's that story?
Yeah, so recently I had the opportunity to go to Vegas. I was selected out of 25,000 different businesses to pitch in Alibaba's Co-Create event. It was an event showcasing different product entrepreneurs, so physical item products that I think most had to be made or do something tied in with Alibaba. It was also it was collabed with like the Global Entrepreneurship Network. And so I got the chance to do a quick pitch in front of some esteemed judges. There were some Shark Tank judges there. There was some big name CEOs, and it was just a great experience to meet like other product founders to get a more insight into like the actual manufacturing world. But yeah, that was just something really cool, and that was a full circle moment for me to discover what Alibaba was to now. Hopefully, I think I'm gonna actually be like a representative, like a certified partner of them. So that'll be cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So I got a quick question, kind of unrelated to the Handless Handle, but because you know about Alibaba, I'm gonna ask it. So for Motion, I had this order for hats, 120 hats. I only got 100. I went through this whole appeal process saying, the order was shorted by 20 units. It just wasn't a trustworthy factory. And they said, no, we shipped you 120. Just not true. Lost the appeal process. Submitted evidence. How do you go about finding a factory that's not going to do that?
Yeah, well, they have a verified partners badge, so you can work with a factory that has that. Beyond that, you can ask them for proper documentation, like, hey, how many hats are in each carton? How many cartons are you shipping? Send proof. Send a packing or slip. That's kind of one of the ways to work around that. But I think a lot of it's trust within that, so ensuring that you're coming off as professional and that you're going to bring them long-term value, and they'll do the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So is there anything that you want to talk about with the Handless Handle that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of on the manufacturing side, I recently went to China. So after, selling about 20,000 units, I was like, hey, I need to make sure that I can make good connections with my suppliers. I'd gotten some advice from friends' parents who have been in manufacturing, from other people that, it's really important to kind of meet them face to face and to know the ins and outs of your supply chain. And so I went to Shenzhen, China, over the summer, toured my factory, learned a lot, met some shipping partners as well. And I think that's really helped me kind of form even more long-term connections. That's hopefully going to help me when I'm going to make a push into retail. So I guess another thing
that's awesome
about that is we're looking to hopefully get into retailers, starting with QVC. We're in talks with them, and then possibly making moves to either smaller retailers like showrooms, or possibly places like Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's.
Man, that's incredible. So
thank you. Yeah,
QVC. Isn't there a Shark Tank judge that has a hand in that?
Yeah, Lori.
Yeah. Was she a judge at that?
She was, yeah. I didn't get the chance to pitch in front of her, but I really tried my best to make sure I got in front of her. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, but still, you're in talks with QVC. Sweet.
Yeah,
that's exciting, and definitely good to have the connection with the manufacturers before going into retail, because got to make sure that they're going to be able to produce the number that you need.
There's a lot of trust, making sure they can do stuff on time, making sure that I guess they're going to send you the right quantity of units, making sure that quality is good. It's all something that's really important that I've also instilled in my manufacturer, like, hey, the reason that we're successful is because we focus on two things: quality and innovation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So before moving on to Martha AI real quick, are there any other products that are in the works?
Yeah, so I am kind of in the works on developing some products. So one of them is this corner shelf. I've actually met another founder who's from IU. He's recently graduated, and he's been working on some other home improvement products, and I want to help him take that to market. And he, I think, has needed some help too in terms of manufacturing and distribution. And so hopefully we're going to come and partner up and make that thing happen pretty soon. So that's in the works. And then I'm also working on another product, exploring how we can make kind of a handless handle for sliding doors, specifically for barbecues.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then there's some other ideas kind of in the work on the back end.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's all about.
I like the one for doors.
Yeah.
I mean, there are
making
times
sure there's
where
enough market
wanted
for
that.
everything. Yeah.
So I'm not like,
taking burger meat and a beer out to go barbecue. Yeah.
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 Definitely used for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ready to move on to Martha.ai?
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, I've had Ethan on the show before.
Okay.
And we talked about Martha AI. But it's been maybe a month and a half. So I imagine that it's developed since then and a lot of things have changed. So where's Martha at today?
Yeah, so it's definitely hard to make a real full-scale AI product. Like that's, not something easy. We have complex integrations with Meta and other social platforms, but what we're really doing right now is focusing, hey, how can we take what we're doing right now as like an AI native service, so we're actually manually consulting for people and building ads and shifting that into a product. And the way that we're going to do that is by providing strategies. So hopefully providing media plans that can be fully automated by AI that are accurate and that actually work and are tailored for any specific business. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at there. We're still on search for a full-time CTO, but we are making progress in terms of any product. But yeah, it's been a good ride.
Okay, awesome. So you're looking for a CTO, someone who knows how to build functions,
functioning marketing AI, product, yeah, machine learning.
That can't be an easy search.
No, we've interviewed like 50 to 100 different candidates, some of which are technically capable, but they're not quite capable of being that CTO. So, we are looking for a co-founder at the end of the day, and that's probably where the biggest challenge lies.
Right. Huh. So even if someone has the technical capability, you don't want to bring them on?
They need to be the right fit.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I mean, it makes sense. You've interviewed such a high number of people, but you only want to take on the very best.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody who not only can add to our vision, but provide their technical expertise and really be, that bridge that we're missing between the business side and the back end and scalable technology.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's talk about Martha today. You got clients?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have about 8 paying clients that we're providing services for. A couple of them are in the food and bev space. We have an events client that's at the hiring platform. We have, we have some clothing brands. We have a good mix of products. Everyone is direct to consumer though.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we do have one B2B client.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fire. What are the clothing brands?
So we have the clothing brand Ernie's. And they're run by our co-founders. So that's what we got on that side. And then we hopefully have the boutique that we're onboarding, and I think we're going to start running ads in about hopefully a couple days for them. But they're not really a brand, but they're a clothing boutique. So similar, but they have a physical retail and e-commerce presence.
Okay. Retail is really interesting. So, I mean, obviously, well, no, I could be wrong about this, but I would think that Martha kind of specializes in marketing for e-commerce and not retail, because retail, it's like a whole different category.
Yeah, and I think that's, a good question to ask, but you want to do both, and there's probably nothing against it. And there's a lot of businesses that that do both, that have, an in-person store plus a huge e-commerce presence. We want to be able to cater strategies to any business type. E-commerce, I think, isn't as hard of, an ads push as it is for physical retail, because there's a gap in information. You can't see who clicks through and then comes to your store.
Right.
There's ways and strategies to get around that.
Like, how does Coca-Cola know when their ads are working?
Yeah, but they run a ton of social ads, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we really want to become, is like, we don't want to only be here for e-commerce businesses or for certain verticals, but we want to be able to service any type of client, even if you're a lawyer or a doctor. If you're trying to run ads, because that's a way to grow your business, because people are on social media, people of all types looking for anything. We want to be here to provide strategies and the execution and actually make that happen without charging the cost of an agency.
Right. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Real quick, just to ask, because I heard you briefly mention it, talking about how you can't really track when sales convert to retail buys, but you said there's like ways to get around that. So how can you track when your ads are working for selling product in retail?
Yeah, there's the ad side of things, so you can make sure that you're, getting good reach, good awareness in the right spaces, that you are targeting the right people in the right areas. And then you can track incremental sales. You can track how many people go into a store. You can use certain codes. So, hey, screenshot this, or here's, go to our website, find our store. You can track kind of different minute things there.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. All right. So what's kind of the long-term vision for Martha?
Yeah, we want to build a product that enables people to come up with strategies and execution on their own. So they come to our platform, they're like, I sell XYZ, these are my clients, this is my budget, go. Click the button, and it's going to go ahead and make campaigns on multiple platforms that are relevant to you. Split the budgets between TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever platforms that it thinks is most ideal for you based on your business type and products you sell. And then it's going to run it, and it's going to manage it, and it's going to optimize. So every day around the clock, this thing's going to be watching, seeing if ads are fatigued, if one platform is working better than another. So it does every task of an agency, with just a couple clicks of a button.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. I mean, I think it's a really visionary product. And in the future, I think there are going to be other companies trying to break into it. It's not always going to be Wyden and Kennedy or whatever other marketing agency, because these things can get more automated with AI. So they will, because it's cheaper. I'm curious how you distribute your time between the Handless Handle, other products in the works, and Martha.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think that's something that I've struggled with. There's personal life, being a student too. There's a lot of other factors. I've been trying to go to the gym a lot. But it's all about, knowing what's important and where my best use of time is. So I don't provide the best value in doing certain tasks. Specifically one would be like emails, like cold outreach. That's not a job I'm great at. So knowing that, hey, that's something I need to either allocate to my business partners or allocate to a contractor I hire, like those. So that, I think knowing stuff like that has really helped me. I have a contractor on, who works on my Amazon management. I've even had him help me sometimes with some social builds on like TikTok, because, he's going to do it a little better, or I just didn't have time and he's able to do it. So it's, it's something that's worth getting my time back to go ahead and put into general management of my brand, customer service, ensuring I'm reaching out to the right retail partners, talking to people. But that's really, I think it's been a struggle. I think even day to day, I like to write down the tasks I know I need to do in a notebook and kind of cross them out as I go. That's been something really helpful that I've learned from some other entrepreneurs who work on a couple things. But, it's always a learning experience, and I'm still kind of figuring things out for myself. But that is, it's a big part of being an entrepreneur, is knowing where your time is best and where it's not.
Yeah. So,
And no week looks the same too, or no day looks the same. It's another
Right.
part, which I love. and that's why
especially
I
as an
do this.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's almost the best part. Rather
Yeah,
than,
you don't want
you know,
consistency. You want to be challenged every day, and you want life to be fun, and
yeah,
you want to keep moving and knowing that your businesses are moving. You're getting better as an entrepreneur, as a person. Yeah.
mhm, totally. I mean, there are a lot of jobs in the world where it's just a completely monotonous task
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and
and
that
then
was
entrepreneur, you're everything.
Yeah.
I mean, especially at the beginning, you're marketing, your product, you're designer, you're like name the hat.
Name the hat.
You wear the hat.
Yeah, and I've done that. I worked an internship. I've worked some other jobs, and I just I really like doing my own thing and being my own visionary, being my own boss, and so that's really kept me driven.
That's what entrepreneurship is about. So I'm curious. I mean, you mentioned a lot of different things that you do, like talking to retailers, talking with clients. Martha, Handless Handle, what are the biggest tasks and activities that you spend time on?
Yeah, I mean, it's really shifted. I don't think there's a specific, but what I've really kind of learned in the past is that I need to be learning at a high level and also managing things at a higher level. So right now I do a lot of management, whether that's checking on, ad performance, how my contractor is doing, how Martha ads, the ads we're running for those are doing, and not necessarily like building everything myself, I think is important. Also, talking to the right people, like I have to go and find the right people, talk to them so I can learn, hey, how do I do better retail packaging? How do I do X, Y, Z? What was your success? What are some strategies I can do? Making sure I'm, moving in the right direction, making the right decisions. That's all I think where I spend my time now. But that could change, any day. So
Okay.
it's a good question. But I don't think there's a strong answer I could give. It is really a little bit ambiguous, but
Yeah.
being the best manager of myself is kind of what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, kind of lead by example
Yeah.
and be the best you can be. On the flip side of that question, what's your biggest time waster?
That's a good question. I mean, there's, I think, a lot of things that waste time. Stuff that are, in my mind, the biggest waste of time are things that waste money and cash flow. But I don't think that's the best way to answer the question. I think my personal biggest waste of time is like social media and distractions. I think those are kind of kill productivity.
Yeah.
So I think whatever you can do to stay on top of stuff, and even like keeping this notebook, like to mitigate the amount of time you're distracted and that you're not actively working on something or learning, talking to people, those are the biggest waste of time, in my opinion.
Totally.
But also
Yeah.
an interesting question.
I mean, I would honestly say the same for me, probably. Social media BS.
Yeah.
Just can drain your time away, and it's not value adding.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to make social media content and like you can get distracted and
Yeah.
yeah,
And time is the most valuable asset there is.
it's very true.
Yeah. So we wrap up every podcast where the last guest asks the next guest a question. So Andrew Robeck's question is, are you still as passionate and fulfilled about what you're working on?
Yeah, I think, I've struggled with that a little bit, and there's always periods that are stagnant that I'm like, I feel a little unfulfilled or I'm like running out of passion, but I'm never passionate enough at the same time, and I'm never fulfilled with anything. So I think my answer to that is like, no, but in a good way. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always hungry to chase what's bigger and to keep growing my business until like it's literally out of my hands and I've made the biggest impact I can. So
That's a really good answer.
thank you.
And I feel that answer to the core.
Yeah.
Because
And that's what it's
feel the
about,
same.
Being an entrepreneur is like you should never feel satisfied, and you shouldn't feel fulfilled in what you do
right.
until you hopefully exit one day or
Yeah. I mean, even once you exit, then you're probably thinking, like, what's next?
What's next? Yeah.
You never want to be complacent. That's
Very true.
What the word is.
Complacency is the worst thing that an entrepreneur can be. So
it's poison.
Yeah.
All right. What would you like to ask the next guest?
Yeah, I think a question I'd like to ask the next guest is like, why are you in your business the thing that's going to change the world? Why are you the one? Yeah.
Okay. Solid question.
Thank
I got to
you.
make sure I got to get a big entrepreneur on for that question.
Well, do it. Yeah.
All right. So where can the people find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me in the business. Well, you can find the business, search the Handless Handle, handlesshandle.com. You'll find us. You can find me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/JackWax. You can find my personal Instagram at JackWax_. You can find me at TikTok on Jack_LLC. And you can find the Handless Handle on @thehandlesshandle on all platforms. So go follow.
All right. Sounds good. And they can get it on Amazon too.
Go buy it on Amazon. Go buy it on TikTok Shop. Buy it wherever. We don't care.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Jack Wax, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.